Well, thank you
Thanks.
for introducing me, Eric. Folks, let's jump right into this because, wow, this is going to be a great opportunity for you if you're looking into getting into this business to be a part of asking the person who's actually going to be teaching you today. She's right on here because, folks, during this webinar, since you're going to be hearing from the person who will be teaching you, you can ask her anything you want to. She's also, of course, a licensee. Cynthia has been with us since 2008. And as you'll see from her story she's going to tell today, it's a great story. Cynthia, you with us? Hello.
Hello to you. I just turned on my, there I am. Hello.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Am I looking at your office or is that home?
My office. Yeah, this is my office.
I haven't seen this. Is this a new one? Did you just move?
So November we moved over here. So it's been a little while. So
Nice.
it's not necessary though. As you know the story is I started out of my home office, and so which most do, they stay there. So it's not needed, but I enjoy it.
In other words, you can get away from the boys. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. This is my sanctuary here. Oh my gosh.
All right, so Cynthia, let's start from scratch because a lot of folks, of course, have never heard your name. Maybe they've not even been on one of these webinars. So why don't you tell your story about how you found out about us and why you got into the business?
Excellent, absolutely. You said earlier I started back in 2008, so it has been a decade ago. So literally a decade ago, I was looking to start my own business. However, I didn't know what industry to get into. And I was in the real estate industry. I was in property management, and which is one of the worst kind of industries that's volatile, right? It goes up and down and whatever. And in 2008, I did unfortunately suffer from this volatility. And I wanted to be in an industry that was going to be around for some time. And so literally that's what made me decide on this industry. But
so you think human beings are going to continue getting sick and going to the doctor?
It's always going to be around. So always. So yeah, the only problem that I thought then was I had zero experience in this industry. I knew nothing about this industry. So when I found ABS, and learned more about their support and their training and their ongoing education and everything that they handhold you, I was in heaven. That this is the best of both worlds. This has every structure that a franchise has without the restrictions, and then they're gonna hold my hand every step of the way. This is just too good to be true. So that's what I thought until I did it. And here I am a decade later telling you right now, this has been the best decision I've made ever.
Well, thank you, Cynthia. I love to hear that, of course. As you know, that's I live to hear the success of people who get into this business.
Right,
and you've just proven that it can be done, obviously, all by yourself. You just jumped in there, and tell us a little bit about your family situation. I know you have two boys, and I'll show some pictures here that you sent me.
Okay, so when I started this industry, so my Christian there, the big one, he was 4 months old. That's how little he was then. And I was working full time. My husband was working full time. I had a new baby, and we were both concerned about not spending any time with them. So when I got into this, I mean, that was one of my goals, was I wanted to have that flexibility to spend time with my babies. And fast forward here a decade later, and I have two babies now, or two boys now. They're 10 and 8 now. And left my job. My husband left his job, and he's a stay-at-home dad and takes care of our babies. And so that's literally what can be done. But it could be anything that you want it to be. That's the beauty about this.
I mean, it's almost like you said, and I have heard that from people. It's almost too good to be true. What's the downside, to the business?
And people always ask me this question. It's kind of like, well, really, what's the catch? And the catch is this: is that you have to work. You have to do what ABS's processes are. You have to do it. You can't just sit back.
You just turned half of the folks on here off. You have to work? What?
But the beauty is, as long as you can follow directions, then you're good.
No, there you go.
Really
It's a system. You're right. And we worked out a system, and that's why
right.
it works.
Right, exactly. Because
The
there's
system
so
works if
much
you
out there. There's so much to be had. There's so much opportunity. I just literally the other day I told somebody, I said, I wish I could clone myself because there's just so much opportunity out there. It's just outrageous.
So you're obviously at Disneyland or Disney World,
Oh
and
yeah, that's us. Yeah, that's us. Yeah, and
and
it was kind of funny because every time I do take a trip, all I make sure is that I have my phone readily available and internet access in the hotel, and we can take trips like that and I can still work. So that's the beauty of it. And it doesn't matter what time of day that I do work either. So if I'm exhausted all day and at the end of the night, just go and continue work because this whole job can be done remotely. So you don't have to be in an office like I am. You don't have to. You can do work there, and I do still,
right.
to this day. You can
Yeah,
show that
you
other
were.
picture because it's a funny story too. Show that next picture that I just showed you.
Oh, this one here where y'all are. Is this Alaska
In
cruise?
Alaska. so,
Wow,
so
what a
talking about
difference.
being, out there. So we went on a cruise and all I needed was internet access and that was it. So at night when I, was having my food coma because all the food that I consumed,
From
then
all
I'm
the
just
buffets.
right, then I'm just working away
Yeah.
and it can be done. And so no one suffered. I was in communication with everybody because that's this business, that's this world now, that's the day we live in. The technology is there. So, it's just so convenient. So I was able to enjoy this beautiful weather and this beautiful scenery
I
without
know when
worry.
I know when you're down here, of course, during the week, you've got your laptop in the back there, and you, of course, obviously take it back to the room at night. And isn't it great to be able to run your business literally from anywhere in the world?
Well, I mean, again, it's just that the day and age that we live in, this technology and this business is everything is cloud-based. So all I
Yeah.
need is get me to, the internet. That's it.
Yeah.
you know.
Now, I know you have some employees. Is this one of them here?
Oh my gosh, yeah, this is my favorite person in the world. This is Bernard, and I often do work at home. I'm not all in the office, and when I'm sitting at home, then he likes to be my assistant, and this is his way of helping me. He's getting in my way and falling asleep on my laptop.
That's hilarious. So, folks, now remember, this is live, unless you're watching the recording of it. But today it's live, really. And she's really on here, and I'll prove that to you by you typing in a question that you want to ask her. Now, look, these questions need to be directly aimed at Cynthia as a not just our instructor, but as an ABS licensee. She's been doing this business for 10 years, like she said. She lives out in the Arizona area, and we didn't know each other. She's not a part of our company, folks. She is an independent consultant that we pay basically to come down here and teach you guys how to do it. Now, why is it that you're able to, and wanting to do that? Wouldn't that be competitors for you?
Well, with how much business is out there, there are tens of thousands of physicians just in Arizona alone. Alone, Arizona, tens of thousands of doctors, physicians out there that are running their own practice.
Yeah.
So when I think about how much I really want myself, it is a tiny, slice of the pie. It really is. So, I mean, there's so much opportunity to go around. It's just amazing. There's
Well,
a million. 1.5 million physicians, I think, nationwide right now. So,
yeah. So, Cynthia, do you mind giving us a feel for what it was like, for you to come to the training? And you said you didn't have any background or experience and all that, but how did you feel, as the week went by? I know you had, of course, another
right.
instructor teaching
That's a
you.
great question. So, when I walked in that door first day, I was terrified because I assumed everybody had so much experience in this industry and I was going to be the dumb one asking dumb questions, right? And it wasn't like that at all. It was so refreshing because I was also taught by a licensee, and this is kind of my way of paying it forward because I was taught by a licensee who was out there doing it themselves proven the techniques. And that's one of the reasons I think you do it, is because it's different to hear stories or hear these processes from somebody who's actually implemented it. So when I went in, like I said, is I thought I was going to know nothing and people were going to be laughing at my questions, and it was just the opposite. Had this group kind of dynamic, and everybody in my class had zero experience, but we didn't need any, because day one, I know you're going to get to this, but day one starts with giving you that education of what this industry looks like, what this climate is right now, why are practices suffering, why do they need us, right? Because that's why do you get into any business, is you want to solve a need, right? That's the first step, is solving a need. So that's what day one was for me. So from the beginning of fright and fear and what did I get myself into, to Friday, where I just wanted to get back to the office and just hit the ground running. I was so excited. Oh my gosh. That's it's such a weird transition from the beginning feeling to Friday. Oh my gosh.
And I do ask that question in the class right at the very beginning. As you know, I ask, how many of you have a background in the medical field? Usually there's 2 or 3 hands. And then I ask how many have specifically, had a background in medical billing. Of course, as you know, maybe 1 here and there. No, we really do take people, don't we, from scratch. And by the end of the week, they know more than most office managers do about all of this.
And there's so many surprises that I had. So many surprises in the scrutiny that these doctors are under, and the risk that they put themselves into, and just the financial responsibility of running this business, where a lot of people think that these doctors are just rolling in it, and they're not, and that these doctors they know how to run a business, and they don't. So just that enlightenment helped me go out there and feel confident about talking about what I do, right? And there was a whole bunch of other surprises too, which I don't want to, for those of you that are coming this week to or this next week to training, there's so many surprises that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know we could offer that, or what, so.
I think that's the biggest reaction I get from people after day 2, when you cover a lot of those other services that we let you offer to doctors, and people are going, I didn't dream, that this business had this huge a potential to it. I mean, it really is an eye opener. And the other thing is they love the fact that I do have people who are licensees actually teach these classes, because, I mean, me and my staff obviously could teach them, but not like somebody who's doing it every day. You run into, and as you know, you've come to us with stuff that you go, now, you know what, this one doesn't really fit and doesn't work. Let's teach this. So that's what I love, is you're out there in the streets.
Well, it's not just me either. I mean, you are and the whole ABS team has been very open to listening to all their licensees. So, and that's why it has been fine-tuned to only teach the proven techniques, right? You're not just going to throw something out there and say, I think this might work. You have people out there and giving you that feedback, and you will only teach it when it has been proven to be effective, because times do change, but you stay on top of all of that.
Now, this picture here actually shows people with laptops. Are those their laptops?
I'm glad you asked.
Talk about a setup.
Thank you. So when I came into the class, I told you I was so fearful, and first day is not only did you learn kind of the climate of this industry, but we got to go into hands-on and see the system in action and see what I would be doing on a day-to-day basis to find out, is this for me? I think it's going to be super hard. So let me see how hard it really is. So this is a picture of day 1 of people getting into it, getting in the nitty-gritty day 1. So it's kind of nice that you learn really immediately, like, I'm going to see what the system looks like and see how it reacts and see how user-friendly it is.
Right. I mean, we want to take that fear away. And so I thought the best way to do that is just get their hands on the computer, and we're logged in really to the system, aren't we? We're live. It's just.
Absolutely. There's nothing that's downloaded, because what something else, a big kind of surprise, is that everything that we have all how running our business, everything is going to be cloud-based. So there's no need to say, well, I've got to download it to this computer that I have at the office and I can only work at it when I'm in the office. It's right. We're not downloaded anything on this on the laptops. You can pull out your own laptop and log in, and we could do the exact same thing. So
that's right. We're actually logging into the
aha moment for me.
Yeah, we're using the hotel's
Wi-Fi.
To actually connect all these computers to our system, and it works flawlessly. People are always asking about that. Well, if it's cloud-based, where is it, and what if it goes down, and all this. I cannot remember when the last time a Wi-Fi connection was not available to me somewhere, somehow. Right. I mean, if I had to, I could turn on my hotspot on my phone, right? Yeah, we've always got Wi-Fi with us, and I can connect this computer right now to this. Now,
it's the world we live in. It's the world we live in. It's so convenient. We've got to appreciate that.
You can go to McDonald's. Not that I would know this, but McDonald's has a Wi-Fi connection there too. If you ate at McDonald's. Oh, let's see. Okay. Well, anyway, as you can see from the shots here that we're giving you of the actual classroom, folks, they're pretty small classes. We do that for a reason, don't we, Cynthia?
It's nice to get that one-on-one approach and allow everybody the opportunity to ask as many questions as needed, and to feel, because that's what I felt, is I was feeling scared, and to feel that I'm not going to be just a number. You know, I'm not going to get brought into a stadium and they don't even know my name and they're not going to answer my questions. It's very personal. It's very personal, and it's needed for the success of the class and for your learning, I think. So it's helpful.
Yeah. Well, speaking of questions, they're pouring in now. So I'm going to address a couple of these. Even as we go through some of the slides here, as we talk about some of the stuff, because I kind of wanted people to hear from you, Cynthia, that, you know, each day of this class, you've rearranged, and well, I know because I get notices of you changing everything every time, folks. She's got new material, new illustrations, new links, new resources. It's incredible how we keep this really up to date. We start with, of course, on day one there, the recycle management. You want to kind of talk to them a little bit?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question first, though. Let's get one of those in. Okay, this is from Jewel. She says, how long did it take you to get your first client, Cynthia, and how long did it take to get your second?
Ooh. Yeah. So for me, because it was a decade ago, it was rather long, in my opinion. It took me 90 days. And I say that because you're going to hear all these other recent testimonials of licensees that say, I got it in 10 days and I got it in, 2 weeks, or, whatever. I was working full time. So there are techniques, and that's another big surprise. I don't want to take away all the surprises in training, but the great surprises are, first of all, you can build this business while you're working full time. So that's awesome. That was so awesome for me, right? I needed to eat before I built this business, right? And then two is the idea that these marketing techniques are not driven to have you push or sell or convince or persuade or strong arm somebody into signing on with you. It's the exact opposite. All of these marketing techniques, I know I'm kind of ahead of myself, you're going to get to some of those, but the marketing techniques are geared to get you warm appointments with people who are already going to trust you. Like, what? Right. That was a huge surprise for me, going, how do I do that, right? That I'm not going to be calling them and can I talk to the decision maker of the practice? And, you're not doing that.
That's what goes through everybody's head. Ooh, marketing to doctors, that sounds scary.
Yeah. So that was another big surprise. So anyways, I think the question was, after you get your first client though, so everything you learn in training is geared to help you understand what it's like, what the issues are, how we're going to transform these practices, what the onboarding is, what everything looks like, right? But until you do it yourself, you get your first client, after you do it and you see the transformation, you see that this system works and everyone loves you for it, it gives you this sense of confidence that you actually are standing behind your system more so than ever before because you've seen it firsthand. So, and Patrick always says this too, he finds the most difficult part for licensees is getting that first client because it's the unknown, right? You don't know what you don't know, right? And we're going to talk about support, how they're going to support you. But after you get that first client and you see it all roll out beautifully and do what it says, then you'll start walking around with this confidence. And so it's easier to get that second, third, and it just continues. It just continues. At this point, I mean, I don't do any outward marketing at all. And I just did a practice analysis last week, and I'm doing another demo this week. So it's still a urologist. I never had a urologist before. It'll be my first. So anyways, I'm getting off topic here, but so that's to answer I think it was Jewel that asked that question is, depending on how much time you have to work on this up front is going to help you determine how long it'll take you to get your first client. And in training, we're going to outline what that looks like, how much time you have, how much time you have to market, and what are the best marketing techniques based on your schedule, because everyone's different. Everyone's different.
Yeah. All right. Anja says, Cynthia, you have been doing this for 10 years, you stated. How long did it take you to start earning income where your husband could stop working? My husband is a vet, and I would love to work from home. I'm scared that I would not be able to pay bills if I do this. Well, I guess I should just ask, can I work this while working part-time in the day?
So, great questions. I do recommend continuing your day job, because you don't know how long it's going to take you. You don't know, but you can still do it successfully and still eat. Like you have to eat and pay bills. I get it. Do that. So it depends on every person's different with what their financial requirements are. Okay, so it's hard to say how long is it going to take me to replace that income, because I don't know if that income is $1,000 a month. I don't know if it's $5,000 a month, right? There's a huge spread there. Now, when I was working this, I had different goals. My first goal was to get my return on my investment, right? My $30,000. And so wanted to get that back, right? And that's including the license, my hotel, all the expenses, etc. Right? So I wanted to get that back. Then, because I was working full time, I actually got so busy that I needed to hire somebody while I was working full time. So I actually was paying somebody to help me do some work. Then I replaced my salary, and then I replaced my husband's salary. So it took a little bit of time. It was less than a year when that happened, but because I had different goals in mind, I had much different goals. So
I think that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point, Cynthia. Everybody has different goals. When people ask me, about the success rate of our licensees and so forth, I say, well, it's exactly what you make of it. I mean, it really is. Everybody, to some people, one or two doctors making $50,000, $60,000 a year would be wonderful for them.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You, again, absolutely identify what does success mean to you. Right. So everyone on here, I don't know how many people are on, but how many are on here, determining what that means for you. To me, it meant freedom. It meant choice freedom. That's what success is to me, that I can choose if I want to bring on more clients, if I want to bring on more employees. I could choose if I want to take a 7-day cruise to Alaska, right? I want to choose that. I want to make those choices. So that's it for me. Everyone's
And Cynthia, you just expressed, I think, what most people know intuitively is that having my own business is not just for the purpose of having a business, it's to have control of my life. Take vacations when and where and how long I want to and not worry about it.
And reporting to somebody and, dreading that Monday morning, which I know everybody does, right? They dread that Monday morning, their alarm goes off and they're like, I gotta snooze. And they're just putting off going to this miserable place that doesn't value you, doesn't value your loyalty, that you can be gone in a heartbeat. There's no joy in that. It sucks your soul out from you. I'm getting very philosophical, but yeah, working for yourself, there comes so many other benefits that are not just the money, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I want to eat.
It's
Eat
the
well.
freedom. It's the freedom of having control of your life, basically. When you work for somebody else, they have control of it, and they're going to pay you only as much as they need to keep you. That's how much they pay you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Natalie's asked the question, and we just answered it. How long did it take you to get your first client? Let's see. Angie says, I'm also scared. And David says, did you create a plan, Cynthia? And if so, what are the key areas to be successful? Also, can you tell us a bit more about support, short and long term? We'll get to a support section here a little bit later. If you just want to address, what are the key areas to be successful in?
Oh my gosh, I could go on for hours of that. I love talking about creating a plan, creating your goals. I love that, just in general. I mean, just put ABS aside for a moment and just think about for you what your goals are, even just your dream goals. When you start thinking about what you want in your life, accomplish in your life, whether it be financial or relationships or spiritual or business or personal development, there's so many different areas, right? So whenever you look at what you want in your life, creating a goal is not as difficult if you start actually creating a plan. So that gets back to your question, is what is your plan? So when I first started this, my ultimate goal, my plan was to have my own business that's successful. And I determined what success was by a revenue number, right? I needed to make this revenue to replace my income, to replace my husband's income, right? So that was a minimum goal for me. When you write that down and then start creating your little action steps, your small baby steps of how to get there, that's what makes it happen. And ABS was on that list, right? I needed to find a business or opportunity that I could grow. And when I went to training, the training outlines exactly which marketing methods that I wanted to use that fit within my schedule. And then with that came a commitment of I have to spend X amount of hours, X amount of time, et cetera, et cetera. And I just baby stepped it. Every day I looked at my list and I did something off that list. And then it doesn't seem as off, it seems attainable when you have this little list. So always create an action plan on how to get there, because, if you just have a wish, it's not going to get anywhere until you actually create action to make it happen. And ABS was my vehicle, basically. It was my vehicle to get me there.
Yes, thank you. And David, we'll get a little bit more into the support here, as you'll see a little bit later. Okay, let's see. Gary says, have you had a client whose practice grew really large and they decided to drop you and move it back in-house?
No, I've never had that. However, let's talk about that for a minute. So if the assumption is a practice grew so large that they wanted to bring it in-house, I would first find out why would they want to do that? Because obviously, if I'm not doing a good enough job to show them that they have their rejection rate, all their AR is clean, that they're getting that revenue that they need, why would they want to add staff and pay a salary, pay benefits, have an area for a desk and a computer and so forth? I don't know why they would want that. And when you get a client, you want them to grow and you grow together. So you continue with this relationship build. And what you will, another big surprise, I'm kind of spoiler alert during training, is you'll realize that you're not simply doing medical billing. You're going to become a partner, a consultant to these doctors. So when they do grow, you're able to help scale yourself, and they're going to realize they're going to see the black and white benefits of outsourcing it, because it's going to cost them less than hiring somebody. So I never have, and I would wonder why that would happen. Why would somebody grow so much and say, well, I'm going to spend more money to hire people and train them and put them here and give them a computer, and why would I do that? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't believe that question has ever been asked on this, Gary. So thank you for asking it. But you'll see when we talk about the practice analysis and the revenue report that you're literally going to be saving the doctor. No, let me reword that. You're going to be bringing in more revenue for the doctor. And so again, why would they risk switching that back to what they had when you've reduced the rejection rate from 30% to 2% and brought in another $100,000 a year or whatever, right? So yeah, it just doesn't happen, and I've never heard of any licensee that it did happen.
And I will just add to that one more thing is I have heard of doctors who have outsourced and they brought it back in-house simply because this quote, write this down, doctors feel out of control. And they've said that to me. And upon further investigation, what that meant was they don't have access to their system. They don't have transparency. They don't know what's going on. And ours is completely opposite. So giving them that transparency, giving them our services and running these reports and giving them everything that they need, then they're not going to feel out of control. They have access to everything, even more so than they ever have in the past. So you're giving them services that they're not going to want to go away from you.
No. When the doctor can access his schedule on his iPhone on the golf course, he can see the status of all the claims anytime, 24/7 from any device. It doesn't make sense. As we're illustrating here, the doctor has access. You can give access to the front office or anybody in the office that you want to. You, as the billing company, of course, on your end, are using iClaim to actually do the billing, but it's all beautifully tied in together through the system. Okay, man, the questions are coming in here. I think they like you. What happens, this is from Jorge, what happens when you come across a doctor that already has a billing system?
Ooh, dun, dun, dun. Jorge, that's an awesome question. Awesome question. Well, first and foremost, part of our lead generation is we're going to find practices that are in pain or suffering or having challenges. And we're going to find them to specifically be able to offer our solution to it. So if they're using a billing system, well, of course they are. There's not going to be any practice that you walk into that you're going to walk in and say, I do medical billing, which you're not going to do. That's not what you're going to do. You're thinking in your mind right now. You're probably thinking that. Right? You walk in, I do medical billing. They're going to say, oh, we already have somebody, or we already do that. We have a system. Of course they do. If they file insurance claims, they either have somebody in-house doing it where they're like, oh, Susie does it, or they've hired a company to do it. So that's going to be 100% of the practices that you walk into. They're already going to have a system.
Yeah.
Our job is to understand what that process looks like, to identify if there's any pain that's happening, because I'm not going to offer my services to somebody that's not having any pain. It's just like a doctor prescribing a prescription to somebody without doing an exam first. I'm not going to offer my services, right? That was a quote that I think I stole from you, Patrick. I heard you say something like that a doctor prescribing without doing an exam is medical malpractice, right? Of course.
Right.
I'm not going to offer my services until I understand what you're going through, right? So it's my job to uncover those, and there's a strategic way that we do that. So we're going to get this appointment and learn all of their pain points, if there are any. By the way, I've never done one and never found one, but you're going to learn all their pain points and then come back and simply present the solutions. It's as easy as that. I kid you not. So if we have an appointment and they're like, oh, we already have somebody doing our billing. Well, of course they do. They're going to. For a fact, they're going to. We're just going to ask them, tell me about the process. And we're going to learn more about it. Either way, if it's in-house or if they outsource it, we're going to learn about both and determine if there's an issue or not. I hope that answers your question, Jorge. If it doesn't, put another one in.
Yeah, that's a good point, Cynthia. People don't realize that basically all we're trying to do is simplify their life and bring them more money, and they love it. They love it when they find out that we do that, and they will never switch to somebody else. Let's see. Angela was saying, I didn't think of having to replace a salary. That was good advice in getting your investment back. Thank you.
Well, that should be goal number one, right? Goal number one. Yeah. First of all,
Return
in writing
on investment, right?
In writing goals, actually write it down. Some people go, that's in my head. No, write it down, right? And so it's getting that return on your investment. You have to, right? So that should be your first goal. And some can get that in your first client, just in the setup fee alone.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's possible. So anyway, so that should be your first goal. And then what is your next goal? Is to earn, X amount per month, maybe. Maybe it's just to get a new car, right? Maybe you want a new car. I need to get a $500 a month car, so I want to earn $500 extra. That could be your first goal. I don't know. It could be that you want a bigger house, and a bigger house is going to be $1,500 a month. I don't know. Maybe that's your next goal. If it is
Right.
replacing your income, what is that income, right? And then,
Yeah.
of course, and then if you want to grow, which I always do, then I add on to that for my next goals.
I'm just kind of showing some slides here, just flipping through some of this. We've shown this on a previous webinar, but I wanted to show people some of the, I mean, here's the hands-on. As you can see, we've got, somebody there can help you. If you get stuck, you're actually working as two people to a computer that we bring in. And Cynthia hands out the forms. You're actually doing medical billing. They're just fake bills.
Right. And that helps alleviate those of you that were like me, that had zero experience, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to enter in claims. It sounds so, difficult, and, I'm not going to know if I'm going to be able to do it. So it alleviates that by actually doing it. And then we even have, it's kind of funny, the last training I did, we had licensees like timing themselves, and they're like, oh, I got that done in 37 seconds, and I'm going to see if I can beat that
Cool.
time. And then you realize,
we should have out little timers that they can set. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
And we're illustrating here, of course. Folks, this is not just lecture. I mean, Cynthia gets you hands-on training here and breaks you out into some little sessions there, all voluntary, of course, but you gather with some other people and you do little exercises, and they just have a lot of fun. That's the best way to learn, isn't it? By doing. So.
Right. Everybody learns different, though. And I know that everybody learns different. So some of you will like to just study the notes, and which ABS produces them for you, so you can take all the notes with you, and it's a ream of paper, I kid you not, right? And then some of you were just a note taker, that you want to take notes, you learn that way. Some of you want to learn from doing, or you want to learn from absorbing. So everyone's different, but the great thing about training is that every single person with a different type of learning will be able to take so much away, depending on every person. I mean, but everybody's going to be able to take so much out of this.
It's amazing, isn't it, Cynthia, when we see people go from, kind of doubtful, scared day one. By day two, they're getting excited because they've already seen the system and done some medical billing, so they know that's the easy part.
But when marketing happens, oh my gosh.
Yeah, when we actually show them what we've figured out over the last 24 years and what you, thankfully, have actually tested out there in the field, and teach them, what was it, about 10, maybe a dozen different ways that you teach them how to market?
But what's interesting is that you see the technique and you see the step-by-step processes, and so ABS is great about that step-by-step process, and you're like, no, and then you see it kind of like, you start realizing, wow, that makes sense, that makes complete, how come no one's ever thought of it? So awesome. So the marketing, I think, is a huge surprise for everybody, a huge surprise, because a lot of people, I know from my class that I went through, a lot of people, that's what they're terrified in, is I don't want to sell myself. I don't want to be that pushy salesman. I don't want to force myself onto people. And the beauty is that you don't have to. You don't have to at all. And I love that. I don't want to be a sleazy salesman. Nobody does.
No, nobody likes to be sold. Yeah. I tell people who come to the training that if they've got some background in sales, and marketing, they need to forget about 99% of what they know, because it's different, isn't it?
And you're right. And you're absolutely right, because right now, even, I just challenge everyone that's on the call here. I bet if you've thought about this business for any length of time, you've already thought, how am I going to market this? And I bet some of these gone through your mind. I'm going to cold call, and I wonder if I can find a list somewhere, or I'm going to do some direct ads. I'm going to do some postcards out and mass mail people, right? I bet you've been thinking that, and those don't work. They don't work. I'm going to do a mass email campaign. Nope, right? So because of in our environment, people that we know, business to business and business to consumer marketing techniques just don't work in this industry. They don't.
No.
So that's one of the beauties of it is I don't want to pick up the phone and cold call. I'll never, ever do that. I don't want to. And I'm glad I'm in an industry I don't have to.
Now, there have been licensees who have had a background in sales and they're used to that. And yeah, they'll go out and knock some doors and leave some business cards and so forth. But mixed in with that, they have to understand that this is not a one call close, right? You don't walk into an office and sign them up. This is a relationship building,
right?
Isn't it? They have to build, you have to build trust. And to get to that point, you somehow have to interrupt their thinking. And we have tools that let us do that, of course.
Well, and you can get warm appointments, right? Another big surprise, aha moment that happens in training is the ability of getting these appointments with warm people who already are going to trust you, even if you don't know them.
Yeah, I know. Oh, don't give away too much.
I know, right?
They might want to come down and find out.
Oh, no, and that's one of the things you're probably thinking right now. I know, I've been there. I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, I don't know any doctors. I don't know any doctors. I'm not going to be able to do this. I didn't either. I didn't either. But we're going to show you how we're going to get these warm introductions.
That's right. Lily asked, how long is this course? Folks, I'm sorry, we sometimes give webinars, and I forgot that I haven't mentioned even that this is a week-long training, Lily. You come, you fly in on Sunday usually, starts at 8 o'clock Monday and goes through when, Cynthia?
No later than 1 on Friday.
Right. We want them to be able to get home and enjoy the weekend. So it's a good 40 hours though of material that you're getting. Believe me,
it's so much fun. It's so much fun. I get to relive that kind of that trepidation of people walking in the door on Monday, and then by Friday, literally, there's people crying that they've been exposed to this great opportunity, and it's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. That energy is just so.
It is. I showed the picture here of all the different ancillary services. We don't want to go into those today, folks, but believe me, on our website, you should read about these. We have, 7 or 8 other services besides what you can offer through iClaim and EMRX. You can actually offer these other services that, save or make money for the doctor. That's what they all do, isn't it?
Well, and this is how we like to use them. We like to use all of our services as either getting your foot in the door with a practice and build that relationship, and then you can add other services. Super easy, right? We also can use them as a standalone service. So if you find one person that only needs one service, then boom, you've got a client. And then that's it. That's the standalone service. That's great. But how I like to use them is by doing a thorough, comprehensive needs analysis, or what we call practice analysis questionnaire. We can determine all of the issues that they're having and come together with a big package of services. And so this is your competitive advantage, is that you're not simply a medical biller. You take yourself out of that when you offer this plethora, this huge, robust package of services that can get them HIPAA compliant, that can get them certified coders to proactively code their things, can get patients to make payments online, to get them on their billing service, to get their collections in order, to get them on a certified EHR technology, right? Those are just a few right there. So when you have a huge package like that, that's why we don't lose clients, because we have the entire package. We're not a biller. We're not simply a medical biller. And that was my big aha moment in training, was that I'm not simply a medical biller. I'm a partner of theirs. I'm a consultant of theirs. There's so much more that we do that gives us that competitive advantage.
Hey, by the way, she just mentioned that we don't graduate you as a medical biller. Cynthia, why don't you talk about the designation there that you have right after your name here on the title?
Absolutely. And so to that's great tie-in is that we are not simply a medical biller. When you go through training and finish training, you will get certified as a certified medical revenue manager. So you're so much more than simply a medical biller. This designation is given to us from the organization MIRMA, Medical Revenue Management Association of America. They're the ones that not only house that credential, but they are in place to help us have the ability to communicate our affiliation with this credible organization. So in theory, think about when there's Subway owners that open up a Subway, right? They're a franchise. So immediately, you know, there's a Subway there and you have this validity, you have this kind of already this trust of people that know who you are. Well, it's the same concept as we get to tap into that idea of being part of this nation's largest network of medical revenue managers without giving away that as part of ABS, because ABS is the company that offers the business opportunity, but we want to be credible. And that's part of us building the trust and being seen as the expert with these providers, is that not only are we certified as a certified medical revenue manager, however, MIRMA also provides ongoing industry education, because this industry is constantly changing. And it's great for us to keep abreast of all of the updates so we can poke the pain of our prospects and then simply offer the solution. So it's a fabulous organization.
I love that illustration. We can poke the pain. That's really what the doctor does when you go in to see the doctor, right? They start poking at you. And we do the same thing with them, except from a financial standpoint.
Right.
Okay, Kent. Let's see, Kent. Yeah, it says, following up on the question of bringing it in-house, couldn't you be replaced by someone in-house who can use iClaim, essentially becoming their own licensee? That's never happened, but I don't know why somebody would want to pay $30,000 to, you know, be their own.
Well, so when we get our clients, they aren't signed up with ABS. I know that sounds confusing to much of you. So I get Dr. Phillips as my client. And when I give my agreement to him, which you will get a templated agreement and how to fill it out and everything. But when I give my agreement to Dr. Phillips, he signs on that committing to my services. There's no mention of ABS anywhere. So he doesn't have a clue of how to become a licensee, and that's done intentionally, right? That's done to protect us. That's to protect our clients. So my relationship is between Cynthia Andersen's company and Dr. Phillips, and that's it. That's where the relationship is. So I'm doing all of the work, and they're hiring my billing services, which is me doing the work, and they're utilizing our system. So we're not software sales reps. We're not just selling a piece of software. We're not. So if the question is, you know, can they become a licensee? Well, sure, in theory, but how are they going to know that you're an ABS licensee? They're not going to know that because they aren't ever given that information.
Well, and that's why we've white labeled our software. You guys are the only ones in the marketplace that have iClaim and EMRX, our electronic medical records. Yeah.
Right.
So that's why exactly why we did that. Great questions coming in here, aren't they?
Yeah. And Kent, one more thing too is that if they want to do that, they're having to pay $30,000 and go through a week-long training. So why would anybody want to do that when they can just hire your services that are possibly about $35,000 to $40,000 annually? So why would they do that? Doesn't make sense.
That's right. No. Here's a question that kind of ties in with what we were talking about earlier. Natalie says, what is the success rate? How many franchisees give up? Natalie, here's the thing. It goes back to that question about success, right? Cynthia, I honestly can say, I think you could too, that anybody who comes through our training has everything they need to succeed. Some people succeed, and yes, there have been a few who haven't. But you know what? That goes back to their time that they have available, their motivation, their goals. Maybe they don't have as many goals as you do. And I've had licensees sign up their first client a year after they'd come through training, Cynthia, because they had other things going on in their life, you know, or other businesses that they were running.
Yes, I would agree with that. However, I would think about, okay, they're given all the tools, right? You're told in class, here are the steps to take, okay? So what are the differences between somebody that succeeds and somebody that doesn't? It's very, very simple. The one that succeeds does the steps and does the work. The person that didn't do that. Now,
Right.
the reason why they didn't do that is possibly personal, right? They're having things going on. They're people getting married, divorced, whatever, right? That's personal stuff. But what I feel is the biggest challenge is our own mindset, is our own programming, where we've all been programmed is we have to work for a big business and we have to be an employee and we have to work our way up, and then we retire, right? When we get old, that's when we retire, right?
Yeah.
We've all been programmed with that. Patrick himself has talked in depth about, and he wrote a book about it, about your own mindset. So the person I blame for not reaching success is your own mind telling you this self-sabotage that you can't do it. I'm afraid. And again, we're all afraid. Don't get me wrong. I was afraid. But you can still do this with fear, as with anything, right? Being courageous is you could still have fear and accomplish something. That's what the definition of courage is. So that's the only difference, is actually just taking action and getting out of your own mind. Getting that, if that person that's talking bad in your head about you can't do this because you're a girl or you're too old or you're too young or whatever you're telling yourself, punch them in the face and get them out of there, because they're the ones that are in the way of your success. Sorry, I didn't mean to go into
Cynthia, you're one of the few people that I know of that have already somehow cleared out all that negative stuff.
It's
At least I don't see it in you at all. I mean, you are thinking very. And look, I'm going to show you something that I haven't shown you yet, right here, live on this webinar. And I'm letting the folks on this see this just so they know it ties in with what you just said. Yeah, the book that I wrote is actually recorded now on this special little gold key.
Tell me about your book. I don't think you talked about your book. Talk about your book.
Yeah. And, oh, yeah, here, I'll show you. Excuse me just a second. Let me grab it here. This is the book that we showed earlier, and I don't talk about this much, but you're right. We give this a copy of them to everyone who comes to the training because we want them to start thinking. Then when they leave the training, I'm going to be giving them this little key that's really a USB that has over 20 hours of self-talk scripts recorded on here, male and female voices. Yeah, it's all the stuff that people need to be hearing. So I call it their key to success. Good tie-in with what you just said there.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's so many great questions here. Linda wants to know how many, Oh, you gotta go?
No, bring them.
How many staff members do you have?
11.
11, oh my gosh. We haven't even talked about your business. Can you give us a feel for, clients that you have?
Do we have a hard close then right at the top of the hour? Is that when everybody's dropping off?
No, I'm going to just go on as long as people want to be on here.
Okay, so I want to elaborate. Whose question was that?
What's that?
Whose question was that?
That was Linda.
Okay, so Linda. So when we talked about your definition of success, everybody's definition is different. So entirely up to you how you want to grow your business. You can easily work this business by yourself without hiring one employee. You can, absolutely. And there's a formula that I actually review with you in training that talk about what your threshold is, right? How much can you work yourself without hiring somebody else? Now, you could lean on a partner, a spouse, a sister, a brother, somebody to help you take on more if you want, right? Without having employees, which is what I think a lot of people like to do. So when you grow, though, past that threshold, you have to make a business decision. Do I hire somebody, or do I partner with somebody else that's in my class and sell this account to them and then earn a little residual on the back end? So those are all options. I don't want to overwhelm you with options, but it's up to you if you want to grow. There is a formula, not doctors. I know all of the ABS reps will tell you it's a number of doctors to one employees, and that's not the case. It's volume of claims, and I'll go through that calculation with you of how to hire somebody. And so it's entirely up to you if you want to hire somebody, but keep in mind, running a business, you're going to have labor costs now, which are going to come out of your profits. So depending on how profitable you want to be, you could do all the work yourself at a certain limit. I know there's a licensee. I think Steve Higdon got up to 17 providers before he hired his first person. And so there's crazy numbers like that, but it is all a volume thing and how much work you want to do, as opposed to I want somebody to do all the data entry for me while I just take vacation. So it's all up to you. I personally, I just see so much opportunity, I can't stop, and I will never stop. So I will keep on going. I'll keep on going, but you don't have to.
Every time I talk to you, every time you come down for the training, I'm going, well, how's your business? She goes, well, I added another one last week and I'm doing a demo this week. And I mean, you got stuff going all the time.
I'll probably have this urologist by the time I go to training. So just ask me about it.
That'll be a good story to tell there. Okay, let's see. How many clients, this is Natalie. She says, how many clients can one person handle on average?
Great question.
Yeah.
So Patrick, go back to the slide of all of our services, if you would, really quick.
Oh yeah, sure.
I'm stealing all of my surprise aha moments for the week, but I think you can. Okay.
No, that's all right. Yeah.
So, like I said before, we're not simply a medical billing company. That's first and foremost. Secondly, another big aha moment that I experienced was that we can offer services to non-medical practices. I know. What does that mean, right? Yeah. So go back to the big service slide. So really quick. So on here, on all of our services, you will find.
Sorry.
Okay.
Here it is. Okay, here it is.
Okay, so you'll find services like AutoCard that can be offered to general businesses or medical practices. You're going to find out iDocs Now can be offered to general businesses or medical practices. Choice Pay can be offered to general businesses, medical practices. Quick Collect can be offered to general businesses practices. So the question is a loaded question, and I never seem to answer a question directly. Sorry about that. But here's the thing: is that if you sign somebody up on one of these awesome ancillary services, such as Quick Collect, say that they're a general business. Well, the way that our compensation works with a client like that is I can have 500 general businesses on Quick Collect, and I only have to work maybe an hour a month in invoicing them. So I know, mind blown, right? Like, what is that? So if you say, well, how many clients can one person have? The answer is it depends. It depends on what services they have, what work that you're going to be doing, and then again, back to one of the most labor-intensive service, which is our iClaim billing services. That's our most labor-intensive. And during training, we're going to give you a formula or a calculation to help determine how many iClaim clients you can take on. But like I said, with AutoCard, Choice Pay, Quick Collect, iDocs Now, you're only invoicing. You're getting this money in the bank. I know.
Yeah, that's right. All right. How about this? Why don't we jump into the marketing just a little bit here, because I know you're excited to talk about the marketing. That's what everybody waits for each week, right? Until you get to the marketing. And of course, we talk about all the different services that she just mentioned. That's a part of it. But these are flyers that we've spent lots of money designing, folks, so that it looks like you are like in a franchise. You know, it's like you didn't just print this out on your inkjet printer in your spare time, you know. So, but I wanted to touch on the books that we use.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So you want to talk a little bit about all of these? I mean, the left one there is, of course, an ebook, and then the middle one is a real book, which I'm looking for a copy of.
All right. So in all of the marketing that we do to doctors, we need to be seen as the expert. But how do you do that when you don't know anything about this industry? Right? You're like, how do I do that? Right? Well, ABS has positioned strategic partners for us to help kind of ride on the curtails of some MDs who are credible in this industry that ABS has partnered with, that we can use to help build our credibility. So this Dr. Vicki Ragnar, has wrote some great articles, some great ebooks, some great actual physical books, wherein we have the opportunity to show that we partnered with this MD with things such as this ebook on the left. So this is how physicians could get more patients. So what ABS has offered to us is give us told Dr. Rackner, give us the opportunity to have our licensees be put on the cover as writing the foreword. So we get the opportunity of having our name as listed on the cover as writing the foreword, which has already been written for us. But this is going to be so helpful in us building that credibility and being seen as the expert. Yeah, so it's going to have our name on there as CMRM, and we wrote the foreword, right? And then during training, we're going to go through some specific strategies of how we're going to give this out, poke the pain a little bit, and then offer our services. I can help you. Are you in pain? I can help you, kind of thing. So
Right.
It's very strategic, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That's just one of the big surprises that you're like, what? We have this at our fingertips to offer.
Yeah, when this book first came out, and it's real new, I mean, like in the last few months, the doctors who get it love this title, the new thriving medical practice, because some of them are not thriving right now. They need some help.
Most are not.
And how to get off the hamster wheel, work smarter, not harder, generate more revenue, and enjoy greater career satisfaction in the era of the Affordable Care Act. So, folks, there was a definite reason why we wrote this. It opens all kinds of doors. We show you how to, well, am I telling too much here? We show you how to mark it up. And yeah, there's a certain way that you give it out and say what you say. We have a letter, a cover letter, and all kinds of stuff there. But it does get you the doctors and the office managers calling you and saying,
well,
hey.
I mean, and it kind of goes back to that question of who's successful and, you know, following the steps. So when you becoming a licensee, you don't realize you're getting a turnkey business, a turnkey process. So all of these tools that you'll see that have been developed, they've spent hundreds of thousands, even more possibly, on all of these tools with the intention. They began with the goal, the end in mind, right? Begin with the end in mind. They started with what can help our licensees get clients? What can help them get their foot in the door? So all of this time, money, energy, and effort that they have spent, we get to reap the rewards of having this turnkey process. So when Patrick says that this book, that there's you know, a letter, there's a this, there's a that, that's one of the another big aha moments that I had, is that it's literally done for you. There is a template. All we have to do is put our logo on it, put our name on it, and then do what we need to do to deliver it. That's it. So there's no excuses. There's no excuses. It's turnkey. No. Just follow the processes. That's it. It's literally it. And these are just a handful of the tools that he gives us and will continue to give us, because he wants us to thrive ourselves.
Yeah, we're working on that book that you see there on the right. I have a kind of a mock-up of it right here. And folks, this one is a great one. It's going to be another one that you can put your name as having written the foreword, and your contact information is inside right at the end of the foreword. Nice. Your website, your phone number, all that's right there. So it's a great marketing tool. This one's going to be, as you can see, how physicians in private practice let money slip through their fingers. Yeah, they do. They let slip. Now, I know we're past the hour here. This is kind of unusual, but folks, Cynthia, thank you for staying on here. Lots of questions here. You tell me, though, when you need to wrap up. So.
Well, how many more questions do we have?
Oh, I just got 3 or 4 more here.
Okay, perfect.
At this point. But folks, we do record these, and so if you have to leave, we are going to send you a link to the recording here. Gary says, do new licensees tend to go after their personal doctors first?
Ooh. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because when you see all of the problems, you're going to get educated on all of the problems to help identify. So what better way to identify these problems than your own experience in your own doctor's office? So did you have to wait more than a half hour past your appointment time? Do you want to make payments online and you don't have the ability to make payments online? Do you have to get medical records and they take forever to get you medical records? Do you have to fill out a piece of paper to register or whatever? Does it take you months to get billed from your doctor's office because the insurance claim didn't go through? So you get to see all of these issues firsthand as a patient. So what better way to walk in and say, you know what, I can help you with that.
Yeah.
Of course, while you're not naked on the table, but afterwards, right, you're done. Then it's a little, ooh, I can help you. Let me meet with your office manager. And there are ways to strategically do that. I know several licensees that thought that was their first client was their doctor because they saw firsthand what the issues were.
Yeah, the only caveat I would give to that, folks, is that you might not want to go out and start talking to your doctor until you've come through our training, because
of course,
they're going to ask you questions that you don't know how to answer, right?
Well, no, and there's a deliberate process in that's given to you. So I don't recommend anybody doing any marketing until you've come to training. And I know there's a lot of type A personalities and kind of some overachievers probably out there that are like, I'm going to start doing this marketing right now. No, please don't, because you know, there's a deliberate intention of how we position everything and a clear step-by-step path that we're taking them. And you can't undo that sometimes. You might just lose the opportunity if you do it. I hate to say it, you might lose the opportunity literally because you did it the wrong way. So come to training. Come to training first and have fun with me. I'm excited. I'm going to stay there at the hotel, so you'll see me walking the halls.
Oh yeah, she's into this so much, she's just there all the time. I don't know how she does it, because you need a break here and there. Well, Cynthia, I'm going to wrap up here by just showing real quickly. You mentioned earlier the practice analysis, and of course we have I think you've gotten this to like 3 pages now. Isn't there a lot of questions that you've come up with?
4.
Yeah. And of course you can, edit it and change it any way you want to, folks, as you get your business going. But believe me, we put a lot of thought into this. And the way we teach you to get this analysis from the doctor, then to prepare this report that you see here on the side, which is kind of hard to see here, but folks, let me tell you, this has got some great stuff in it, and it does all the selling for you. I mean, it literally shows the doctor from their own figures that you get from the practice analysis exactly what they're going to save once you get their rejection rate down to 2%. In this case, it's hard to believe it, Cynthia, but this is a real one. We blanked out the top of it there.
Hard to believe at all. I see that all the time. So what this serves is as a black and white tool. Doctors are to the point sometimes, right? They don't want fluff. They're like, what can you do for me, right? You've uncovered the pain. Now just tell me, what is it? What you can do for me? So this is a fabulous way to show them, bottom line, this is how I can impact your practice, doctor. Here we go. Just by implementing my services, then you're going to increase your first year alone, possibly this amount. All you need to do is X, Y, Z. And in training, you're going to get that script. And I say script, however, don't think I'm trying to make you a robot. Okay, these scripts are meant to be a guideline to help give you that turnkey process. So when you know what to say, make it your own. You know what the gist is that you want to say, but make it your own. Each of us have our own personality, and you'll find that out when you get references on the reference. You'll talk to the licensees. Even if you watch all the videos, everyone has a different personality, right? I'm loud, I'm obnoxious. That's me, right? So I can say things a certain way, but the other softer toned licensees will spin it their way. So make it your own, but you're going to get that in training.
Sure. You guys also will be able to have access to our Lunch and Learn slideshows that we've developed. Dr. Vicki Ragner, shown here in this slide, will actually help participate in some of those if you want her to. She's a consultant to us, so she'll be a consultant to you. And then, of course, we've got booths for trade shows that are set up, and I'm just trying to rush through all this. Anyway, day 5, support. We said we'd get to this, so I just wanted to mention that we do go through the support, and you've got a little checklist at the end. It's kind of overwhelming for some people, isn't it?
It's a lot. It's awesomely overwhelming. I'll tell you that right now. And during training, the last day is imperative because we put all these puzzle pieces together in your own step-by-step list of what you need to do, because everyone will come there with different experiences. Some of you have maybe owned a business before. I never owned a business. So my step 1 was setting up my business name, my business account, right? So everyone is going to have different step 1s. And so it's important to know that that's one of the reasons why ABS likes to keep those small as well. So there can be some focus on you and what your steps need to be, what your questions are, because everybody is different. Everybody is different, and
Yeah.
your task list will be much different from your partners next to you.
Yeah, and speaking of support, they have lifetime access to our support site with credentials to log into
I
it.
still use, by the way, a decade
Huh?
later.
What you still use?
I still use that. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have
There's
it.
a lot of material. We've had this site since I think 2013, so we've got a lot of data out there, a lot of files and things
Yeah.
people can browse. You get access to this, by the way, as soon as you sign up and send in your paperwork and your funding. And so, yeah, that's it. Okay, Cynthia, I'm gonna let you go because I know you got other stuff going on too. Thank you so much for your time today. And folks, as you can see, Cynthia is she's not just a licensee, she's a business coach. She knows how to train and teach people how to be successful. So you're gonna love it. Thank you, Cynthia.
I'm just paying it forward. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye-bye. All right, well, folks, we're going to wrap it up here. As you know, we have a money back guarantee. Our training is a whole week here in Texas, but at the end of that week, if for any reason you don't think this is the right business for you, we'll give you all your money back. I know it's hard to believe, but we've done it a handful of times over the last 25 years. I know it happens from time to time. It's just that option that makes you feel good that, oh, if I come down there and don't like it, I get my money back.